Frankly, I'm Michael Reyes.
Today we'll be going over an impedance-driven flow chamber for the observation of biomaterial degradation.
This is a brief outline of what we will be discussing today. Okay, so the current method of biomaterial testing is either placing it, the material directly into the human body or into an animal. The problem placing it into the human body is that causes an inflammation of the tissue, pain, and possibly death. And with animal testing, obviously the environment of an animal differs from human. There's limited structural resemblance. And we don't have, and the setup takes longer, it takes longer to set up. Some of the requirements of impedance, for compatibility, we have to make sure that, as I said previously, that there's no tissue rejection. For mechanical properties, they look at such things as wear resistance. And for manufacturing, the cost of the implant is important, as well as the fabrication of the implant. And specifically in our project, we looked at magnesium. And some of the properties of magnesium is that it has similar bone density. For magnesium and bone, the density is around 1.7 grams per centimeter cubed. Is biocompatible. And for cardiology, it's noticed that magnesium tends to degrade completely in the body. However, one of the biggest problems is that magnesium does tend to produce hydrogen gas.
So you can see, we're comparing our model right now to the model we found online, which is the Warner RC30. The motivation for us is first, right now, the current chamber is flexible as in it can only afford 2D materials as of right now. And also, it can only be tested with laminar flow, not close out. And then ease of use, it's comparable to how long the assembly time it takes just to assemble one flow chamber. That doesn't even count the entire setup. And also, of course, there's always some leakage, small leakage problem with the current model of chambers as of right now. And then with our setup, we're going to incorporate our own pump tool. Right now, with other flow chambers, they have the parasocket and the syringe pump. These pumps are that they have a finite volume of whatever media that you need, and then also the amount of runtime that is required.
So for our objective for the senior design project was to design a chamber that can achieve pulsatile flow, incorporate various materials such as 2D or 3D materials. What we're going to do was measure the degradation of magnesium as well as the pulsatile flow, make it biocompatible, and make it autoclavable. In order to do this, we're going to let me talk about the impedance device. So the basic principle is that you have two different types of tubing. D1 is a rigid tubing compared to D0, which is more elastic. And what's done is you apply pressure at one end of the tubing, the elastic tubing, compared to in reference to the center of the tubing, it's either dry flow rate asymmetrically. So the basic principle of how this works is you apply pressure on the elastic tubing, it displaces the fluid, and the moment that the pressure is released, it's going to expand the tube, and the moment it's going to create some backflow. So when this tubing reaches its elasticity resistance, this max resistance after it's expanded, then that forces that backflow in a forward direction. So doing this continuously at a certain frequency, we can achieve measurable flow rates. So this is our schematic for our circuit that we designed. This just works as an on and off switch for our solenoid, and in conjunction with our Arduino, which gives us a frequency that we want to achieve. And by doing this protects both our Arduino and our solenoid to get enough current, or current that it needs for it to actually work. So here's a picture of our circuit and Arduino conjunction. It's really small, it's mobile, it's compact, and it's really it's a big advantage for because the chamber itself has to be placed within conditions where you have to provide accurate temperature as well as like a CO2 fixation. So the flow chamber design. We ran some simulations for our flow chamber. What you can see at the bottom, it's only a 10 millimeter distance. That's 10 millimeter distance of a glass slide. We incorporated glass slides to as our well, which will hold our 2D materials. And we ran some simulations according to literature values. And as you can see, with both water and SVF, it has some similar activity. As you can see, under the correct inlet flow rate, you can see a minimal difference of the max flow rate that is achieved in the outlet flow, which is in water 8.5 and in SVF 8.15. So we decided to run our testing parameters in the water.
Alright, so solid flow chamber. We're building our model and we're on our computational model first. So as you can see, that right now this is a exploded version of it. We have two gaskets on top of the chamber and below it for leakage problem. That will, right now, it actually goes a leakage problem. And then we have two glass slides between that, and the rest of it is compressed with a pressure cap and base. Everything else is screwed in just to keep that pressure on, and then everything else is screwed. And we put the two threads on the two sides, and that connects to the pump, and then that's how the thing works. And then next one is our console model. We want to see if it does work, before we put them together. So as you can see, we have the compressed coil on the left, and then the chamber on the right. So as you see, when the compressed coil tube is compressed, you see that flow is moving towards the chamber. That's what we want. And bottom here are the parameters we found in literature, and we put that into our model, and this is what we get.
This is a picture of the complete setup that we have on the table here for you guys. There's a computer, a controller, power supply, solenoid, tubing, flow chamber, plexiglass, and some tube holders. All these all together. For our testing configuration, we used a 1/2-inch inner diameter silicone tube. We used an open loop testing setup. So basically, in order to get our flow rate, we ran the pump at a certain frequency for 10 seconds and then measured how much water was expelled from our pump.
So right now I'll show you our demo. So what we're going to be demoing right now is a controlled flow rate. We chose a 7 Hz frequency for this demo. On a closed loop system, 7 Hz seems to be optimal conditions right now for the closed loop system. So what we're going to show you now is we're going to turn on the solenoid. We're going to inject some dye, and you're going to see that it circulates in a single direction. So as you can see, it's running at 7 Hz. And we inject some dye. See that the dye is just pumping it into the chamber. And from one end, it's going to be moving a lot faster from this end of the tubing in comparison to this end. So the way that we can change the frequencies, we just connect the Arduino to the laptop and through the Arduino software, we can change the different frequency. Changing the frequency will give us a change in flow rate. And as Jack will explain right now.
Okay, so on the left here, we see the data that we obtained for open loop testing with this setup. Over here is the literature values of some physiologically relevant flow rates. These would be found around the spinal cord or the brain. And this is a graph of a paper from Caltech that we based our impedance pump off of, where the shape of this is pretty similar to this. And so we can sort of guess or assume that our pump is working in a similar fashion to theirs. For each flow rate or frequency that we tested, we took 10 separate trials, and then we statistically analyzed the bottom here. So we took average, standard deviation, and standard error of the mean. And with this graph, there's appended error bars, and each error bar corresponds to plus or minus 1 standard deviation. We can see that the error does not depend on the actuation frequency, but rather the flow rate we are achieving. So the high flow rate has the most amount of error, and the lower ones don't have quite as much.
So with our flow rate characterized, we also want to characterize our chamber. And how we did this biomaterial degradation study is that we would autoclave and UV sterilize both the chamber, its parts, and our sample. We would test it for the specified amount of time, and then we would collect our data, let it sit overnight to dry out, and we would again repeat the process of autoclaving and sterilizing. And as you can see from the data, for water, there's a slight acceleration between day 0 and 1, but overall, the material, the magnesium strip, does not seem to degrade. However, if you look at SBF, by day 5, it has rapid degradation, while by day 9, it's completely degraded. And this is comparable to literature bounds we have found. And so we looked at both pH and the change in mass. And as you can see with the pH, as the magnesium strip continued to degrade, the solution became more basic. And for mass, we noticed there were patterns between this graph and the images. With a greater degradation, there was a greater change in mass. This is our degradation rate graph. And as you can see for SBF, the degradation was greater. It was around 0.2 milligrams per millimeter squared per day. And for water, it was almost 0.
So in conclusion, our serum has been proven to, in static testing, fit the following criteria. It doesn't leak. It doesn't affect the internal environment, such as the material that it's made of doesn't release any outside material that contaminate the media or the water that we tested. It's easily assembled. It can be assembled really easily for flow rate testing, and it's transparent, so you can see from the top that we were doing for the demo. So the impedance pump is also able to achieve flow rates comparable to the body.
So in future work, we could obviously improve on our setup right now. The chamber can also be smaller, and also, as she said, we only tested right now static flow. In the future, we're hoping to study the degradation rate under pulsatile flow, and also take record pulsatile data using some sort of flow meter.
So we would like to take the time to acknowledge Dr. Lee, Dr. Carr, Palmer, Maria, and Shanine and Melissa, and of course Lee, as well as these people to consideration for our project.
We didn't quantify it, but we did observe just with 2 beakers, and we had the pump running between the 2 beakers. We did see that it did maintain a steady state at a constant rate. So I guess that would be one of the experiments that we would do to find out that kind of information, but haven't yet had to quantify it.
guys made an argument for your pump working by comparing it to the graph of Caltech,
Yes.
but the scales are completely different.
Right.
So-
The dimensions for their pump are, theirs is actually a microfluidic, ours is macro. So their data is different, but we shouldn't expect to see similar trends. So you're right,
The trends,
scales are
even
very
over the
different.
different scales, I think you guys was from 0 to 10 hertz, but theirs was up to 200 hertz.
Right, right.
Because from their paper, their setup is actually quite small, using microtubes, which we're not using. So they actually have passive flow rate. Also, the pump is a small micro pump, I believe. They bought commercialized, and it was really fast. So for us, our
Our direction was to go fit our budget. So comparable to what we bought commercially, ours was just a fraction of the price for our pump, and our entire setup is only ranged it maxed out like about $80. So one of the benefits for this is that it was really cheap and it doesn't actually make contact with the media.
Right, I'm just saying you made an argument based on
Yeah.
shape here, but the scales.
Yeah. Dr. Liao?
So your device has material boundary degradation, right? Why do you want to emphasize on biocompatibility? You're not going to implement this testing your degradation, right?
I'm sorry.
No, your device is used for in vitro testing, right?
Correct.
Not in vivo, not in animal or in people.
Right.
Why you always emphasize several times biocompatible material?
from biomaterial, as in like our chamber itself, there won't be actually any media that we put into. So our anodized aluminum and will not react to the SPF, let's say.
So I think a better term to describe our chamber would be bioinert instead of compatible, because we're not trying to implant our chamber. We're just using it as a passive test